Hey guys, welcome back to the Blockhash podcast channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Flare network, doing some chart analysis, some requests from the comment section from subscribers to the channel want to know about Flare. So we're going to talk about that today. Make sure to also check out our sponsor, Bump Social. They are revolutionizing the social media experience for users, for brands, for creators and influencers, for advertisers out there. It's going to be a really cool, unique experience coming here in April. So make sure to check them out. Links in the description for the episode down below. Make sure also to check out the subscription opportunities if you want exclusive content from Blockhash Podcast, as well as our channel on YouTube. It's only a cup of coffee a month and you get access to everything before the crowd. We're also introducing a merch store for the Blockhash podcast. That's something that is brand new. We haven't done this before. So there'll be hats, t-shirts, cups. You can buy coffee. You can buy water bottles. You can buy all kinds of neat shit. So that'll be there relatively soon. So I'll be sharing some details on that. Check the links in the description below as well. We'll probably throw down the store into there if you want to check it out. All right. So let's talk about Flare. Let's jump into this bullshit. So Flare is relatively new. All right. I remember getting my Flare airdrop on Coinbase. So we're going to look at the chart here on Coinbase. Now this airdropped back in, I believe, April. Actually, I think it was February of 2023. And then it was tradable by like April or so of 2023. Immediately people sold it off. Didn't think much of it. And then it started to make a comeback, started to actually go up in value. So we're going to dive into it today, see if there's real merit to this here in 2024, and if this is something worth investing in, given its limited chart history. So since the weekly just doesn't tell us enough, we're going to dive in on the daily and look at this in a short-term prospect. So obviously, since middle of October, late October of 2023, that's when everything started to move in the markets. We kind of felt that that was going to happen sometime in the late fall, around October or November. And that seems to be tried and true across the crypto spectrum. Now, Flare has done pretty consistent move to the upside since then, maintaining a relative funnel pattern until about, let's say, mid to late February, where it actually broke out and started to show a little bit more volatility. So did a lot of things in the crypto market. Then we saw a pullback, and then we saw it start to substantiate this position, or at least fall back within the bounds of this funnel. So either that was a premature move, or this is just the beginning of some much higher volatility. Who knows? Looking at the Chris Moody, obviously you can see where these things flipped over here on the 23rd of February, where this flipped bullish, flipped back to bearish on the 4th of March. Pretty consistent with the rest of the market, flipping back again 26th of March to potentially bullish sentiment. And now we're just hovering, waiting to see if this is all bullshit and we pull back down, or if we continue sideways, or what's to come. We don't really have any former floors and ceilings to measure against, unfortunately. So we're going to have to just do the best that we can with our limited information here on Flare. So we're going to go ahead and knock that out. I want to pull up the RSI. Why do I pull up the RSI? Because I want to see if something is overbought or oversold to give you a relative point of potential entry or exit. So Flare has actually been somewhat overbought since October. Again, like this is a young coin that has come out. It's not something that has a ton of price history. Obviously, it's been around for barely a year. So it's hard to measure accurately. But for the past year, it's been completely oversold. Why? Because people got a free airdrop, and you get a free airdrop. It's income. You want to sell it. Got to pay for your taxes. Didn't help that this got put on exchanges right before April last year, when people had to pay their taxes. So people mostly just sold it. But there's a resurgence in people obviously wanting to check it out this year. All right. So now have broached the overbought territory, especially on the 26th, 27th or so of February. Pulled back. We actually hit the bottom band of the RSI. Now we're sitting just on the top of the moving average and in the middle, which is actually a pretty good spot for this. I actually kind of like that. I'm glad that it found some resistance at the bottom of the RSI, at the bottom of this funnel that we just kind of threw up here, but this is fairly consistent. So there is support here. We can fairly certainly say that this is a area of support, a floor for Flare. Now, in terms of ceilings, we have, you could argue that this is a ceiling that has had a hard time getting out of, and it might take some time. This maybe funnel needs to widen a bit so that it can play with expansion, but it tried to break out and it didn't hold it. So we can't say that this was valid. It came down and actually stuttered around the ceiling here between March 4th and March 11th, and then broke down back into the funnel. So there is resistance here. It's moving in the right direction, which is the most important thing. It's just taking its time at this point. The Bollinger Bands themselves obviously play a key factor here on the daily, where you can see where here between early February and late February, it was trying to punch through that Bollinger Band. This was a good sign that it was likely to go up, staying above that Bollinger Band moving average. And it did. It made a move, then it came back down. It couldn't get above that level. So we can say that that's our first level of major resistance. I'll mark that at 5.3. So there will be some converges here, obviously, with the funnel going upward. The first one coming around the 8th of May. So will we retest it around then? Will we go earlier? Will it just go ballistic, or will it take its sweet, sweet time? And maybe we see this play out until we get to the fall or very late summer or fall. Maybe. I think we'll see something happen sooner. That's just in my opinion. We have the Fed chair giving a speech tomorrow that could impact the crypto markets. I know that has in the past. Employment rate, I don't think is going to change, and I don't think that's going to impact anything. It's usually inflation that impacts the markets. We want to see Feds cut rates. They've raised them quite heftily the last couple of years. And even though they've been pausing, a rate cut is essentially what we really want to see to free up some capital and make money cheap again, so people will throw it into crypto and into Flare, hopefully. So yeah, we looked at the MACD on the Chris Moody. We looked at the RSI. Let's take a look at the moving averages just to see. Oh, well, I don't think the moving averages want to work today. Oh, there we go. So on the 20 and the 50, which are the red and the orange, respectively, it's sitting right on top of it. All right. It's been riding the 20 and kind of the 50 this whole way up in this bull cycle, which is pretty good. Even when it's pulled up, it hasn't gone much lower. So it likes to stay above the 20 and the 50 for the most part. So we're likely to stay above those if those continue in that direction. So I like seeing that. The 100 and 200 have not really been challenged ever since October. We've pretty much stayed above those the entire time. That's another good sign. So essentially, when you can stay above a shorter moving average like the 20 and the 50, that's really good on a day-to-day kind of thing if you want to look at the direction of the market. Whereas if you can stay above the 100, especially the 200 moving average, that is something that's a bit more long-term. Again, you're not going to see major flips and changes usually on 100 and 200 moving average because it's a moving average of over 100 to 200 days. So it's always going to be a bit wider. But when you see these break, usually you can say that's likely to be an indication of heading into a bear market, heading into a bull market. And that's what we saw back in October. And actually for Flare, I think come December, that's where we saw it. I don't know. The yawns are attacking me today. More coffee. Need more coffee in my system, guys. If you drink coffee, let me know. Give a thumbs up. Hit the like button if you like coffee. All right. So that's what I think about Flare. In the short term, again, this is very hard to predict. I'm just going to throw out a wild guess and say that we will retest this area because we didn't, this wasn't that long ago. This was just the end of February that Flare went up with the rest of the market. And it seems to be moving with the rest of the crypto market. So if a rising tide is going to lift all boats. I would be surprised if Flare doesn't get back to 5.5 cents by summertime. All right. We have a lot of time to get there. It's only April. But I'm going to say, I'm going to draw a box, actually, make this a little bit easier. How do I do this? Where's my date range? I'm going to say we can get to 5 cents, maybe even 6 cents by the time we get to summer. I think that's fair. You know, whether we pop in here for a couple days, whether we stop and hang out, I think this will be the relative level that we get to in the short term. Now, in the long term, it's nearly impossible, guys. I have no idea. I think Flare is just going to pump with the market itself. Now, I don't know what multiples you guys are hoping for. But to even get to 10 cents, which I'd say is an incredible accomplishment for Flare being a new coin, we'd have to go 174%. Not impossible. It is, in fact, entirely possible. If you just look at the last few months, you know, or at least since October, we've been able to go 678% relatively. Now that's been going from just under a penny to, I think, 6 cents. All right. So why can't we go from where we're at around 3 cents to 10 cents? We can. Okay. It's entirely possible. I just don't know how much juice Flare really has to make that happen. So again, I don't know if I can predict one, but I'm going to say in the long term, by January of 2025, all right, January of 2025, get my date range. We'll just do it here. I'm going to say, God, this is tough, 9 to 10 cents, okay? I'm going to be bullish on this because why not? There's nothing to really lose. I don't own any Flare, guys. I'm just doing this for you because I've had people in the community ask. So this is what I think. Short term, I think it's very likely we can get into that 5.5 cent range. Long term, by January of 2025, I think it's possible to get between 9 cents and 10 cents. Again, that could also be conservative. Flare could blow this out of the water and it could go to 20, 30, 40, 50 cents. Nothing's impossible, okay? I should look at the coin market cap and give you a little bit of tokenomics insight here, but there's no time for it today. This is more than enough. Absorb this. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you know something about Flare you think is interesting or you think it's absolute dog shit, let me know that too. You know, just be honest. That's what we're here for. We're having a good time educating each other and learning as we go and analyzing this market. Make sure to also tell me what you would also like me to cover in the next chart analysis video. If you want to do something other than Flare or other than the typical top 10, top 20 cryptos, let me know what you want me to cover. And make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you have already, thank you so much. You guys are the best. And I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.